What's up YouTube? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky and today we have a really exciting video. Where to buy cheap cars. It's probably the most asked question I get over and over again. People are always looking. I see it in the comment section all the time. Where do you buy these cheap cars at? So I wanted to give you kind of a breakdown today of how I buy them, how I look for them, and how you yourself can buy them, whether you have a dealer's license or you do not have a dealer's license. But before I get into that, if you could please smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps me find more amazing people like yourselves that enjoy automotive content. Also, if you consider subscribing, I post great stuff like this all the time. Without any more shameless plugging, let's get into the video. Now, before I go into the video, there's something you guys need to ask yourselves. Why are you buying cheap cars? The reason behind this is we want to know why you're buying cheap cars because it's either for two things. You either want to maybe flip cars on the side, maybe you're a dealer, you want to buy some cheap cash cars to build your buy here, pay here portfolio. You know, whatever the case is, the reason behind it is you want to make sure that if you're buying these cheap cars, if you're a dealer, you're going to have comebacks, you're going to have issues, complaints from customers. Maybe your buy here, pay here won't perform as well, so I recommend buying maybe a little bit more of an expensive car. Now, if you're a person that's just flipping cars on the side, then it's not that big of a deal. You're just doing cash cars, or you're just getting started in the industry, then cheap cash cars are kind of the way to go. But also you need to make sure that you don't take on more than what you can actually do. So if you buy some of these cheap cash cars, do not buy heavy mechanical problems or body problems or anything like that until you actually get a system developed. Whether you have a repair shop, if you're handy, if you're a mechanic yourself, make sure you take these things before we start shopping, because I see a lot of people, they'll get excited. I'm sure when I show you a few of these ideas, you're going to want to go out and buy some cars, but hold your horses, take a minute, see exactly what you want to do before you actually execute it. So let's go ahead and get in the first one, which everybody knows is Facebook. Now, everybody goes on Facebook Marketplace and shops. It's probably one of the most trafficked sites as far as vehicles go. But I just want to put this in under conventional. A lot of people are constantly going through Facebook. Craigslist. Craigslist is dead in Las Vegas, but there are still a lot of people that use Craigslist everywhere else. So every morning I usually wake up and I check all these platforms. OfferUp. OfferUp is a really good one for me. It's an online application. It's completely free. I do a lot of my selling for cars for dealership-wise as well as personal-wise. I sell a lot of my furniture, other stuff you don't need. OfferUp is definitely a great one. And the best thing about OfferUp is they allow you to boost your posts. So, whether it comes to Craigslist or Facebook, when you post a car, it's hard to find a good vehicle, but if somebody boosts it up, it pops up to the top. So if, let's say you buy the car and you're ready to flip it, you want to get OfferUp, so this way you can push your car to the top and it stays up there until the car sells. Next one, which a lot of people forget about, is local paper. A lot of these old school guys do not sell their cars the traditional way, like Facebook, Craigslist, OfferUp. So if let's say you're a guy that likes to flip classic cars, local paper is a great one, which I'm going to tell you there's an also trick for the local paper as well, but look inside there, because like I said, some of these people that use this, a lot of the older demographics, they don't sell their cars that often, so they still rely on the paper to get it done. So don't forget, every Sunday, buy your paper, go through it. Next one, which I know a lot of people don't talk about, which is a good spot for me, swap meets. Now, you may not have one in your current city or location, but there are swap meets all over the place. It's a great spot where people get together, they sell personal goods, car parts, everything else, and you get a chance to go there and start talking to these people. So I recommend getting a little card saying, hey, I buy cars, and just start networking, going to these swap meets. The next one, car shows. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of cars for sale at car shows. You're always going to get these guys that spent 10 years restoring a car and they want $200,000 for it and the car's only worth $50,000. We're not talking about that. When you go to the car shows, I like to buy cars that are basically halfway through the project. Maybe they got some issues. Maybe a kid's talking about upgrading to another car. Same thing, you just start networking, you get out there and you start talking to these people, because you'll see all this will end up to the very last one, which we're going to do. But I don't want to spoil the surprise. You have to wait till the end of the video for that one. So we're going to start in the non-conventional. The first one is auto repair. You can actually buy a lot of cars from auto repair. You start handing out your cards saying, hey, I buy cars, I'm an automotive broker, wholesaler, car flipper, however you want to distinct yourself. And you let them know, hey, if anybody has a car that maybe costs too much for repairs, if you're familiar with repairing cars, or if you're looking for people that basically haven't picked up their cars, because as an auto repair shop, and one of the things we teach you in our course is we show you how to lien vehicles if customers don't pay for them. So if the customer drops off the car, you put a transmission in it and they don't pay their bill, You get the title. Now you get the title, you could turn around and sell it yourself, or you could sell it to a dealer or a car flipper like yourself. So auto repair shop's a good one. Same thing with body shops, same rule applies. You're gonna get a lot of people that can't afford the repairs. Maybe they can't afford, or they spent the insurance money and now they can't pick up their cars, or the body shops actually have a few impounds or liens that they want to, basically cars they want to sell. You should stop by every auto body shop, every auto repair shop, start handing out your cards to every single one. Hey, let me know if you get anything, if anybody needs any cars, because the best part is you can preface this like, hey, if I buy a car, I will give you $100 on whatever I buy the car for. And then also you can tell them, hey, tell your customer, I'll give them $1,000 for trade-in for their car, and I'll sell them one of my cars that you already have ready, and I'll give you a commission of $100, $200. So you have this nice flow of customers coming in and out. So these two are some of my favorites. Next one is car rentals. Every car rental company defleets their vehicles, whether it's due to age, mileage, damage, whatever the case is. So stop by all your local rental car companies and ask them, say, hey, do you guys have any older cars, or maybe some cars that are beat up, maybe a car with a blown motor, bad tranny, whatever else? You can get a lot of deals out of this one. This is actually one of the first places I started, and they were just giving us cars because they didn't want to take them to the auction, because most dealers won't buy a car that has, maybe too many dents, a blown motor, stuff like that. So there's definitely one good place. The next one is pawn shops. A lot of people don't know this, but with most states and most cities, you can pawn your vehicle. Now, when you pawn your vehicle, you actually give them the title and they hold the car as collateral. And if the customer doesn't make the payments, they basically have the right to sell the vehicle. Now, the best part about pawn shops is they'll sell them pretty much quickly, because 90% of the times it's all profit, so they just want to get rid of it. So take the time to go to all your pawn shops and ask them and say, hey, look, I'm a car flipper, give me a call if you have anything, All this stuff's going to take a lot of time to build, but it's definitely worth it. It'll pay dividends in the end. The very next one we're going to talk about are title loan companies. Now, some states you have to be a dealer, some states you don't have to be. But title loans is something really big, Title Max, a few of these other ones, they're always selling cars, they're always repoing cars. So if you can get yourself in with this company and be able to purchase cars before they hit the auction, you'll get massive savings. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you about these last two, the pawn shops, the title loans, and the rental cars, usually if you do business with them, you need to have money. And what I mean by that is you're going to buy sometimes 2 to 3 to maybe 10 cars at a time. So the pawn shops I work with and title loan companies, the rental car companies, the rental cars, it's always 10 cars. I got to buy 10 cars all at once. Have no choice. Title loan companies, exact same thing. You got to buy 10 cars at once, no questions asked. And a lot of times I buy a lot of really crappy cars I don't want just to get the good ones. One thing I'm going to tell you, build these relationships. Take the time, buy all their crappy cars. You could always flip them, sell them. As long as you break even, it doesn't matter. Don't lose money, but as long as you break even on some of these other ones, just to get yourself in the door, that's going to be the big thing, because every dealer goes in there and they cherry pick. And they pick the cream puffs and they leave the crap for the rest of them. What I do is, the reason I have these relationships with these particular vendors is I buy everything. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything. Next one, which is also a very hidden gem, are charities. Now, a lot of you guys may have charities in your local places, some don't, but look it up. Catholic Charities, people where, Veterans Village, like a lot of these different ones, they have auctions where they sell maybe clothing, maybe old commercial goods. Sometimes they get vehicles, and when it's a public auction, you're allowed to attend it. So you can go there and bid on some of these cars, and some of these charities actually have private events. So another good place that's a hidden gem. The next one we're going to talk about is auctions, and it's not the auctions you're thinking about. Everybody knows we can go to the dealer auctions and buy cars. These particular ones we have pointed out are all accessible to the actual general public. So if you're thinking about getting in industry, you should definitely look at this. First one we're going to talk about is Copart. Now, Copart does do a lot of salvage, wreck, damaged vehicles, but they also do clean title cars, charity vehicles, title loan companies, everything. They do a little bit of everything. And depending on your state, county, or city, or wherever you live, certain vehicles you could purchase from Copart without a dealer's license. It's very simple. You just go online, you fill out the documentation, they'll give you a login, and then you just search cars for sale for public, and you're able to buy it. Poof, just like that. Very simple, not that crazy. Don't have to get a dealer's license, but this will get you started. Same thing with IAA. IAA is Insurance Auto Auctions God, I can't remember the next I, but anyways. So this one's a really good one because same thing. It's an auction that's based for the regular person. You can go in there, you can buy wreck cars, clean title cars, you know, pretty much everything from A to Z, classic cars as well. And they'll give you a list of cars that are actually being able to be sold to the general public. That's where you want to find it. So like I said, if you want to get started in the car business and you don't have a dealer's license, this is where I would start just to get your feet wet or just to see what the dealership auction process is like. Because, you know, you've seen some of my videos where I'm running around bidding on cars. This is just as crazy, and this will give you a sense of what we actually deal with. The next one, public auctions. Now every city, state, county, whatever has a public auction. You just have to find out if they sell cars. Now there's a really good one in Phoenix, Arizona that I go to. I won't say the name because I don't want to give it away, but there's a lot of good ones in Phoenix. In Nevada, unfortunately, there's no public auctions, but in Phoenix, you could find one where they're giving away all kinds of cars. The police take their vehicles down there, the city, dealers selling their trade-ins, everything else, and it's open to the general public. Now, unfortunately, you are going to pay really high prices because public auctions, they're not savvy dealers or business people. They're going to pay whatever retail is. So be sure to be cautious when you're buying through these actual locations. But like I said, these are a good way to get started in actually seeing if you want to get in the automotive industry as far as being a dealer. Okay, the next part we're going to talk about are ads. Now, this is where you create your own luck to bring people into you. So everything we discussed before is actually people that you have to go look for, cars you actually have to go out and drive and find and check and all that other stuff. But if you're, let's say you're a dealership owner or you're own a storefront, you're a very busy person, Cash for Cars is the way. I love these ads. I got about 30 of them running all over Vegas. And what we do is we put them on Facebook, Instagram, your local paper. You know, you get, if you have a business at on a busy corner, wrap a van, stick it up there, hey, Cash for Cars. This way, people will come to you. Now, this is a really wide net, and you will get a lot of people that are just wasting your time and tire kicking. But all you have to do is get one car off of this ad. Each ad per month pays for itself. So the example I'm going to give you guys today is we spend probably about $5 grand a month, I think, in Cash for Car ads. And just this week, we've gotten probably about 6 or 7 cars we're going to make about $4,000 or $5,000 on. So it pays for itself. Now, we've bought a lot of junk, like cars. We've literally gone out and bought cars and took them straight to the junkyard, made 50 bucks, went back out there just to build the name, to let people know that we're out buying everything, junk cars, non-running, whatever else the case may be. But this is something where, like I said, you build your own luck and you bring the people to you. Now, the ads can also do everything else. Once you start these ads, they'll reach body shops, repair shops, you know, they'll reach these people that are looking to sell their cars. So this is something that'll pay dividends if you do it on a monthly consistent basis. Now, everything that I've shown you from this point on all has to do with checking every day, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day. Because everybody's like, well, I already look on Facebook, Lucky, I know that. Or I already know that Iaai does public auctions, but how often do you check and how aggressive are you? You know, a lot of people I know, right now they're desperate for cars. They're literally sitting in their tow trucks or sitting in their cars with a stack of cash in their center console waiting to find a deal. And that's basically how eager you have to be to get ready to buy stuff like this, because as soon as it pops up, you know, on Facebook, OfferUp, Craigslist, it's gone in 2 seconds. So even some of the cars we sold today that were cheap cash cars, as soon as we posted them, within 30, 40 minutes, people were coming down with cash, boom. Because like I said, all the stimulus ballers, all the unemployment ballers are out there buying everything. There's more money out in the world today than the last 10 years. So people that normally don't have money for cars or that are desperate to sell their cars because they need to pay bills are no longer selling their cars, or they're buying even more. So now that they got one for them, now they're buying one for maybe their spouse or their friend or their family member, or whatever the case may be. So that's why there's a massive shortage of cars. So you keep these principles of doing this, and this will pay dividends. But this is what's going to go on to our next one, which is time and social network. Like I said, you need to be constantly looking, and you need to have, sorry, my handwriting's awful, consistency. Checking all this stuff is huge. As you start doing this, you're going to meet people, you're going to meet brokers, and that's where your social network comes in. As you befriend these people, You stop by once a week, bring them donuts. Hey, how you folks doing? You guys have any cars? Don't worry, remember me later. Stop by the body shops, rental cars, posting the ads on there, stopping by every car show, every swap meet. Hey guys, I buy cars. If you want to buy car parts, whatever, think of me. Your friend needs a car, start making that. Make a shitload of cards and postcards and just hand them out to everybody. Start going to every single auction. Even if you don't have any money right now, go so you can learn this stuff and you can meet people to build your social network. Because a lot of my calls will come from actual people that I've already done business with in the past, or some along the way have touched them and said, hey, you know, we've touched base on cars. I know you buy cars. I have a friend that buys cars. And then that's when they call you. And you want to be that guy. You want to basically be their friend that buys cars. Even that too. Like I have some of the franchise stores, they know me as the junk guy. I literally buy all their junky cars because I know that eventually one day I'm going to want a nice car from them. And as long as I've been buying all their junk, they're going to go ahead and come back and bring it to me. So these are some of the ways that, like I said, we actually get a lot of cars and we just keep doing the system. Now there are some more ways, but I can't show everybody because some of this stuff is in my course and I got to leave some of it for some of the people there. So this way it makes my course a little bit special and makes people want to buy it. But this is everything that I recommend you start with and start building this process and going over it. So if you feel like you learned anything, please smash the like button. I truly appreciate it. Also, if you consider subscribing, I'm going to do more stuff like this all the time. We are posting 3 times a week, and I'm going to try to keep up this pace until my head explodes. Also, if you can follow me on Instagram at automotive.life. I'm posting great stuff there all the time. I am way more popular on Instagram than I am on Facebook and YouTube. It's probably because you can cuss and do a lot more crazy stuff and be more myself on Instagram than I can on YouTube. But until then, guys, I appreciate it so much, and we'll see you next time.